days, making this one of the most significant exchanges to date. Germany and the EU have urged Israel to halt plans to build thousands of new homes in the West Bank, warning that the controversial E1 settlement project undermines the two-state solution for Palestine and Israel and violates international law. German officials and EU foreign policy Kaja Kallas have strongly rejected the Israeli government's decision. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has said that Tehran is working with China and Russia to prevent Britain, France, and Germany from reimposing snapback sanctions over its nuclear program, according to local state media. Hong Kong Democrat Jimmy Lai's national security trial was delayed after his lawyer revealed the 77-year-old suffered heart palpitations. With closing submissions now set to resume on Monday, Lai faces charges of conspiracy to collude with foreign forces, while U.S. President Donald Trump vowed that he would do everything to save him. South Korean President Lee Jae-myung has announced the restoration of the 2018 September 19 Comprehensive Military Agreement and halted propaganda efforts against North Korea in a bid to reduce border tensions. Marking the 80th anniversary of Korea's liberation from Japanese rule, Lee also called for pragmatic diplomacy with Japan. Turkish police have detained 40 people, including Beyoğlu Mayor Inan Güney from the main opposition JHP, in a corruption probe, making him the 16th mayor taken into custody in less than a year. More than 500 people have been detained in the crackdown, including Istanbul Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's main rival, as the JHP and denounces the charges as politically motivated. Russian President Vladimir Putin has floated the possibility of a new nuclear arms deal with the United States ahead of his highly anticipated summit with U.S. President Donald Trump in Alaska tonight. This comes as the White House has confirmed that the meeting will take place at 11 a.m. Alaska time. The talks come amid ongoing Russian advances in Ukraine and reported European concerns that Trump may compromise Kyiv's position. While Putin has rejected Ukraine's call for an immediate ceasefire, according to reports, he has framed the nuclear proposal as part of a broader peace agenda that could improve U.S.-Russia relations, including trade and economic ties. The existing U.S.-Russia nuclear treaty, named New START Treaty, was signed in 2010 by Barack Obama and Dmitry Medvedev, and it limits each country to 1,550 deployed strategic warheads and 700 long-range missiles or bombers. The deal was extended in 2021 but suspended by Russia in 2023. It expires February 5th, and analysts have reportedly warned both sides may exceed limits if no replacement is reached. Putin's offer comes as the Kremlin faces U.S. pressure to end the war and avoid new sanctions targeting Russia's energy exports. President Trump, who had previously claimed that he could end the war in 24 hours, as per reports, acknowledged in an interview that the conflict is tougher than expected. He also said that a follow-up three-way summit with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky would be even more crucial than his one-on-one meeting with Putin. Meanwhile, in Alaska, key figures have arrived ahead of the summit. Russian Finance Minister Anton Siluanov touched down in Anchorage, expressing hope for positive results from the meeting. Moreover, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov was also seen in Anchorage ahead of the expected meeting. Now for this discussion, we're joined by Shruti Dasgupta. She's a Middle East affairs expert, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you, Shruti, for joining us today. Good to see you. Now, in your analysis, what does this Putin's proposal for a nuclear arms deal indicate, especially in light of this timing with current tensions surrounding Ukraine?
Greetings, Asulma. Thank you for inviting me. As I understand, that START 1 program is about to expire soon, but it was also very badly violated by the Biden administration when they leaked the positions of nuclear bombing aircraft to Ukraine, which led to the Operation Spiderweb phenomena. So US knows, I believe the Trump administration were pretty furious because they were not in the loop of this entire game, and they did not understand, and the repercussions of this particular violation would definitely make waves towards the US itself. So that is one reason. The other reason is that recently both the nations, USA and Russia, have posted very aggressively towards the nuclear world. Trump, in his truth tweets, has claimed that he has repositioned the nuclear submarines appropriately towards Russia to mitigate any aggression coming from the Russian side. And Russians, of course, have been have Cuba as a point towards where they position their nuclear subs and showcase to US that they're not as safe. If the world burns, then the war will come to American shores as well. So with all of these posturings and all of the repercussions that have been happening in the retrospect of the Ukraine-Russia war, a new nuclear deal is definitely a requirement. Now here is where this meeting would probably come in place while they're discussing what to do with Ukraine and how to do. I believe the word he did not want to use, Trump, in his speeches were divvy up, but that's exactly what's going to happen if the actual peace deal comes through. US and Russia are going to find themselves redefining borders and claims on land, or at least zones of influence regarding Ukraine. And this, beyond this, they will go forth with their own nuclear agenda and how to kind of de-escalate from the forward position that they have taken as of now. The US had also walked away from the intermediary treaty where intermediary missiles could have been used against each other, and this is where the Oreshnik question comes through, where Russia is posturing with Oreshnik and promising hell's fury to any of the European nations if they do happen to not accept the peace the way Russia wants it. So I understand that this is going to be peace through power, where each of them will be flexing, and the place, Alaska, where they're going to hold it, is a prime example of how world powers, if you're a minor headline in the world, then how world powers divvy you up. Alaska changed hands while a former Crimean war led to aggressions with the Ottoman Empire and all the other things, and then the Russian resources were kind of depleted, and they wanted to sell Alaska off, and they did exactly that. US bought it. And this is where the positioning of the summit comes into place. So it is more than one statement going through. There is flexing that is happening that the world is unaware of.
Yes, you've also mentioned that given the history of Alaska and the location's importance, can this summit's outcome have a lasting impact on Alaska's role in upcoming global politics?
Not particularly in Alaska itself, because although Alaska, the Bering Sea is a zone of influence, and having Alaska as a US makes US an Arctic nation as such. It brings them into Russia's zone of influence more, and there's just a 50-kilometer distance between the Russian last landmass and Alaska, so it's pretty close. But we know, as history has shown it, that Alaska cannot be controlled by Russia because it's too far away from Moscow. And any kind of investment that Russia would put in would not bear fruits on the long run. So Alaska is not going to change hands, if that is what is being thought of, where I believe the protesters in Alaska are saying that they're finding common sympathies with Ukraine because they felt that Russia had occupied them, although that was in the 1700s. So they are looking at it in a very different perspective. Alaska is just a place of meeting, of shared history with Cold War era dynamics in play and the new world order resetting itself. So Alaska on its own is not too much of a point of conversation. It's just a common meeting place with history going behind it.
Thank you very much, Shruti Dasgupta, for always joining us and sharing your insight. Now we move on to our next news. In an interview with Fox News Radio, U.S. President Donald Trump has said that the secondary tariffs against India may have influenced Russian President Vladimir Putin to meet him. This comes after, earlier this month, Trump ordered steeper tariffs on Indian goods over New Delhi's continued purchase of Russian oil. This takes the level to 50% for many products, among the highest on any American trading partners. President Trump further implied that the tariffs on India probably had a role in Putin's agreeing to meet today. While India has emerged as a key partner for Washington in its strategic, have made New Delhi a prime target in the Republican president's global tariff offensive, according to reports. Now for this discussion, we're joined by Gautam Mukherjee. He's a senior reporter, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you, Gautam Mukherjee, for joining us today. Good to see you. Now, how credible is this President Trump's claim that the tariffs on India influenced President Putin's decision to come to the table today?
I think it has little or nothing to do with it. The main reason that India would buy Russian oil is because of the degree of discounts. It buys from many places. Russia has been very economical in terms of its pricing, and that is the main reason that India has been buying Russian oil. We need 80 to 85% of our oil from abroad. We buy about $6.5 billion worth of oil from the United States also. So this is a strange remark to make, that Putin is coming to the table because of sanctions on India. But again, just before this meeting in Alaska, the Trump administration has threatened higher tariffs, even beyond the 25% they put on Indian oil, on India for buying Russian oil and other equipment from Russia. So, this could be 50, 75% additional to the other tariffs, which are already 25%. These are pressures being put on India because India is refusing to agree to American terms, particularly in the sale of American agricultural products and dairy products into India, which will harm the Indian highly subsidized Indian farmer just as much as Trump is trying to push the highly subsidized American goods. So that is the basic thing. And now the situation has moved on to India dealing more and more with BRICS. We have made a circular to all the BRICS countries, 21 of them, that they can deal in Indian rupees with India. There is also in the offing a BRICS currency, which may be introduced, I think, shortly after India meets with China at the end of this month. If there is a BRICS currency, then the high value trades will happen in the BRICS currency rather than the US dollar. So many things have arisen out of Trump's hostility towards India, which has turned away a perfectly good ally in order for it to seek other markets and other ways around Trump's unreasonable demands and very high tariffs.
Do you think that these moves that has pushed India to look out for other allies in its surroundings, do you think that this is signaling a shift in U.S. strategy towards India now in balancing relations with both Russia and China?
It is not succeeding, if that was the idea, because America is not in a position to raise tariffs on China because there are many trading items it needs from China and which it can't get from anywhere else. It thought it could pressurize India into submission. That is not happening. Instead of that, China, India, Russia, the global south, the countries in BRICS, and so on are raising their cooperation. Brazil, for example, which has also been subjected to unreasonable tariffs from America, has also decided not to cooperate. Switzerland, all the way across in Europe, a neutral country, has also been very put off with 37% tariffs on the and threats of even more, and has canceled its F-35 plane contracts, as has Spain. Canada has bought 10 and is reducing or holding in abeyance any further purchases. So it is very hard to understand Trump's mind on what he is seeking and what he is actually achieving out of these tariff wars. Because as far as India is concerned, we are becoming more self-reliant by the hour as a consequence of Trump's policies.
And given this India's growing importance, also you've mentioned in your first answer that U.S. strategic interests. So how will these tariffs impact the long-term U.S.-India relationship, according to you?
I think the long-term the relationship has been improving steadily ever since the George W. Bush presidency, where a Republican president was definitely very helpful towards India. The Democrats in between did nothing to harm the relationship, though they have always played, America has always played ducks and drakes with Pakistan, and not come to our aid at vital times. In 1971, they sent the 7th Fleet when we liberated Bangladesh. In 1999, when we had a battle with Pakistan at Kargil, they turned off the GPS so that we could not work. And now, after Operation Sindoor, where we smashed Pakistan and a lot of American assets secreted in Pakistan, they are being very hostile. Now, I do believe that after the Trump administration leaves, and they've only got about 3 years left, I think the relationship will vastly improve. It could even improve towards the latter part of Trump's presidency, when he becomes a lame duck, when he loses more seats in the Congress and the Senate. And, the relationship, I think, will be restored to its former warm, relationship between America and India, with a critical difference. India will never, ever in the future rely on America. It will be a transactional affair. If they agree to our terms and we agree to their terms, we will go forward. But we will not automatically expect any favors, because there are none forthcoming from America. There never really have been.
Thank you very much for joining us today and sharing your insights throughout our news. Thank you very much. Now we move on to our next news. As the Trump-Putin meeting inches closer, a few hundred demonstrators took to the streets of Anchorage to protest the scheduled meeting of Russian President Vladimir Putin with US President Donald Trump in Alaska. Let's listen into what some Alaskans who were protesting the summit had to say.
It's like we're being used for a public distraction, and I really don't like that. I don't like that my governor is excited to invite an international war criminal into our state and to host him here. There was a summit in South Africa that he couldn't attend because of his international warrant, and we're just going to happily host him here, and that makes me extremely angry.
I'm not real hopeful that it's anything other than a distraction. You can't negotiate and not have all parties at the table. The fact that Zelensky's been cut out, it's his country. Let's not rewrite. Putin invaded Ukraine.
I find it very fascinating, very random even, the fact that this is so close to home. I question the efficacy of this meeting and whether what Donald Trump says will be accomplished will actually be accomplished. And I'm frankly scared of what this could mean to Ukraine in these escalating circumstances.
Meanwhile, Russian-American residents are in Alaska are hoping for breakthroughs from this meeting later today. Let's listen into what one such Russian-speaking resident of Anchorage had to say.
Well, I want to believe that we will have some positive outcomes because of this meeting, but it's kind of the situation right now. It's like in a stop. It's like 2 steps forward, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back. You know, that's the feeling, at least my feeling. So I can't tell about everybody. So, but. I just want to hope, and they say the hope dies last, so that there will be some fruitful results from this meeting, from this.
For our discussion, we're joined by Shruti Dasgupta. She's a Middle East affairs expert, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you, Shruti, for staying with us. So going back to our discussion on Alaska with you, what do you think that what could be the benefit for Alaska after hosting this summit?
There are no particular benefits except being a larger number of people being able to point it on the map. Apart from that, I don't see any benefits coming through, because the meeting is not a meeting for trade. It is not a meeting where good things are going to be announced at. It is a meeting at a military base that is going to be held between 2 really powerful world leaders on how, and there they're going to divvy up part of Europe. So when the Alaskans are saying that where is Zelensky, well, they need to understand that this was Zelensky's war, but he was just a pawn in the hands of NATO. There were numerous peace deals, the last one being of 2022, where he was asked by UK PM Boris Johnson at that time. He was persuaded to walk away from a peace deal. So this was NATO's war. This is what has been keeping the arms lobby afloat for the past 3 years. This is how their dying economy has found a new way to survive the severe economic depression that they would soon face. So the inflating costs and all play right into those hands. And so Alaska is not really going to gain much, except that many people will point it on the map. It was named going to be go down in the annals of history, where 2 powerful leaders met face to face, where it will be proven that this was NATO's war against Russia, not Ukraine's war, and that is why Zelensky is not invited to the table. He will only be invited to the table once the big daddies have decided what is going to whom, who's going to take which part of Ukrainian land, and who's going to what part of the military assets or the critical minerals, and all of those are going to be employed or deployed or taken away. So this shows to the world exactly what most analysts have been saying, that this is NATO's war, and Ukraine is just a place that they have chosen to mount their aggression against Russia. And despite 3 years, they have not been able to make any peace come through for any of that. The only thing that I do know is I just hope that it doesn't become a place where Donald Trump gets bamboozled by Putin again, where words come through, he comes back happy and smiling, and within 24 to 48 hours, we see a fresh aggression from Putin's side, to show the world exactly where he stands in this dire peace deal.
Yes, indeed. We hope so, and we'll be eyeing this. Thank you so much, Shruti Dasgupta, for always joining us and staying with us throughout our news. Now we move on to our next news. Wildfires continue to ravage southern Europe, with Spain receiving 2 EU-sent firefighting plans after activating the bloc's disaster assistance mechanism for the first time. The country has recorded 3 fire-related deaths and evacuated thousands as temperatures hit 44 degrees and winds raise fears of further spread. Police have arrested 10 people for arson since June. In neighboring Portugal, 4 major blazes have burned over almost 14,000 hectares, prompting an extended state of alert. Greece is also facing its 3rd day of wildfires, with almost 95 injured and 10,000 hectares lost. While Albania and Turkey report injured crews, scientists warn climate change is making such heat waves hotter, longer, and more frequent. Let's listen into what the locals had to say.
Empezó a haber una columna de humo que, bueno, pensamos que iba a desaparecer en breve, por así decirlo, pero como había otro incendio en la zona del Cubo de Benavente, en Molezuelas, pues no había medios. Bueno, Galicia también está ardiendo, bueno, media España está ardiendo. Entonces, como en España y en las zonas rurales no hay medios, pues entonces estamos, pues eso, abandonados.
Hace 3 años, el que consideran el gran incendio con 60 y pico mil hectáreas quemadas, en realidad fueron 2, con un mes de diferencia. Y no aprendimos del primero. En el mismo año, el segundo, un mes de diferencia, donde hay fallecidos, hubo fallecidos, 4 fallecidos. Y volvemos 3 años después con otro gran incendio en la misma zona, donde lo poco que quedó sin quemar se abrasó.
Now for this discussion, we are joined by Desmond Mijekudumi. He's an environmentalist, joins us live from Lagos. Thank you, Desmond, for joining us today. Good to see you. Now, given this widespread devastation across multiple countries, do you think the EU's disaster response mechanism is sufficient? Also, how can local communities better prepare for future fire seasons?
Yes, well, our hearts really go out to the people who are getting inundated with these fires. The reality is that this particular fire is the most severe that they've had in this region, yes, and the heat that is there is also some of the most severe heat that's ever been there. And we have been warned about this. So, it's a harsher reality. And I would even go into a metaphysical sort of explanation of it, which I think the Indian philosophy could add to this, because this is the reality of action begetting reaction. That is, nature is fighting back. In other words, it's like a karmic reaction to what we have done to the environment. Pumping millions and millions of tons of heat-trapping gases, it makes the earth hotter. If the earth gets hotter, you're gonna have more evaporation. And guess what? If you have more evaporation, you're gonna have very, very heavy rain in some areas, but other areas will be totally deprived of rain at all. And this is what's going on in Europe, even in America. In the Arizona desert, they had a fire that was sparked off on the 4th of July. It's still burning till today, and it's only 52% controlled. So the reality is that we need to come to terms with what we are doing to nature, because nature will always give it back. She is locked into what we can call it almost instant karma. And definitely the European Union are trying, all kudos to them, but they're gonna have to try a lot harder, because the heat isn't just gonna go away automatically, it's gonna get worse. And one wonders, how much worse will it need to get before we start taking the necessary action, stop the pollution as fast as you can, and also plant millions and millions, billions of trees and take care of the green vegetation that you have there, because this is nature's way of stabilizing the climate. We need to come to terms with that and be our brother's keeper and not our brother's destroyer just because of profit.
Yes, indeed. Desmond, always nice hearing from you. And it's the earth that's pushing this because she's angry. Yes, I agree with you. Thank you very much, Desmond, for joining us and sharing your insight. This is all we have time for. We will continue to bring more news updates from around the world.